We did indeed see the entire Wales family stepping out for the annual Trooping the Colour celebrations, which are effectively the Queen's or King's official birthday. It always takes place in the middle of June, and we always get a brilliant turnout from members of the royal family who do their official appearance on the balcony all together. Now, Kate looked absolutely spectacular. Even better, she and her daughter Charlotte decided to coordinate in complementary blue outfits. The two boys looked very regal in navy blue suits and red ties. And of course, William was there in his full military garb. But I have to tell you, the person who really stole the show from me, sorry Kate, I did think you looked stunning, was of course Prince Louis and all of his cheeky antics that have now become my favorite thing about any official royal gathering. Louis was born to be in front of the cameras. Whether or not he was a member of the royal family, this boy was meant to shine in the public eye. And it's a very interesting contrast to his two siblings. George, as the eldest, was obviously the first of the Wales family to really get thrust into that public spotlight. And you could tell that when he was much younger, he really struggled with that attention. Charlotte seemed a little bit more comfortable with it, but was always a little bit reluctant to kind of court the attention. But then you have Louis. Anytime he is in front of a big crowd, he acts up like you wouldn't believe. In this instance, he was smiling, he was waving. He very quickly realized that if he started waving to the crowds, either from the carriage or from the balcony, they would wave back. So the waving got increasingly excited and vigorous throughout the event, which was absolutely brilliant. And then, of course, as we have all come to know and love, there were his facial expressions, which are absolutely brilliant on every single occasion. Whether he's happy, sad, excited, upset, you are going to get some absolutely spectacular shows of those emotions on his face. Now, when it comes to Kate's parenting style, she has always done so with a very gentle but a very firm hand. She is aware that her children are in a situation that most youngsters will never have to experience. And so she never gets angry, she never gets cross, but she does make sure that her children remember every time they kind of step out of line a little bit, that the world's eyes are watching. In this instance, when Louis was getting a little bit tired, maybe a little bit bored, definitely a little bit slouchy, Kate did have to step in to reprimand him slightly. A lip reader has claimed that what she told him was, "Louis, national anthem, stand," effectively reminding her son that during the national anthem, it's important to show as much respect as humanly possible, to sing proudly, to sing energetically, particularly when the national anthem is dedicated to your grandfather. It was Kate's first Trooping the Colour since she revealed the happy news that she is in the clear. However, this is such a wonderful and positive event. It's also during the spring/summertime, so we tend to get some sunshine, which is rare in the UK, especially for a royal event. So it's always been one of the public's favourite events to watch, and one that Kate has always really shone at. So to see her back in action, looking healthy, radiant, happy and energetic was a really, really great thing for the public and I'm sure for Kate's family and friends. So there was a lot of family dynamics going on just with the fashion alone. Take out all of the behavior and just look at the outfits and you have plenty to play with. So Kate and Charlotte wore complementary blue outfits, which were so adorable. And then you have Charlotte's really wonderful tribute to her late great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth. Charlotte wore a small horseshoe brooch on her dress that is reportedly a gift from the Queen herself, and one that I am sure Charlotte treasures above all of her other possessions. The Queen was known to have a very close relationship with William and Kate's children, and she was an avid equestrian throughout her life, which is a passion that I have no doubt she couldn't wait to share with all of her great-grandchildren. Kate has been on a fashion roll over the past few days. Just shortly after she stepped out for Trooping the Colour, she then attended the Order of the Garter when she was seen wearing, dare I say it, an even more spectacular outfit. Now, Kate turned to one of her favourite fashion brands, Self-Portrait, in order to ensure that she looked her very best at this latest event. She was giving bridal, I won't lie to you. If she and William were not already married, you can just imagine every person on the planet whispering that her all-white ensemble was a sign that they were about to tie the knot. As it is, Kate was just giving regal, she was giving elegant, and she was also giving a little bit risque. Because on top, her outfit looked very demure, very elegant. It was a white blazer, and then underneath she had a pleated skirt that featured a little bit of a lacy sheer detail at the bottom. Not the most saucy thing you are ever going to see a member of the royal family wearing, but I love how Kate always manages to mix up the elegant with the slightly daring. She never goes trashy, she never goes brash, but I do like that she throws in a few of those fun flares every now and then. Kate's iconic at this point 5-strand pearl necklace, which did again once belong to Queen Elizabeth II, did make an appearance as part of this outfit. I mean, when you're wearing an all-white outfit, I don't understand how you can't rock the 5-strand pearls with it. But again, these really seemingly insignificant fashion touches are actually a really wonderful way of the family showing that the Queen's presence continues to stay with them. It has not been that long since the Queen passed away, and I think that her influence and her wisdom that she imparted down to all of her family members is continuing to help guide them through what has been a really rocky time. While Kate is now in remission from her cancer, remember that King Charles is still struggling with his own health battle, and Kate is still working each and every day to make sure that she remains as healthy as she possibly can. And I think all of them are looking towards the Queen and all her infinite wisdom in order to ensure that they get through this time in the healthiest, happiest, and best way possible for the entire family. Okay, now one thing I have to point out about Kate's outfit, although it was spectacular, it also marked a very rare move. Because we're all used to seeing Kate repeat outfits. She's done so on many an occasion. She is a thrifty shopper. Well, maybe not a thrifty shopper. She does wear a lot of designer, but she is a thrifty recycler of clothing, which we love to see. However, this particular outfit apparently made such an impressive mark on Kate that she decided to re-wear it not even 2 months after she was last seen sporting it. In fact, Kate wore a nearly identical ensemble on May 8th at a VE Day concert. The only difference is that she changed out a couple of her accessories, including the addition of a black hair bow and some different shoes. But for the most part, it was pretty much the exact same thing that she wore to the Order of the Garter. I gotta say, maybe she didn't think that enough people captured her in the full fit during the VE Day concert because she was sitting down. That's why I get away with repeating so many bottom halves of my outfits when I'm chatting to you lovely people. So there was a lot of family action going on within the royal family on both sides of the Atlantic this weekend. While William, Kate and their kids were attending Trooping the Colour and then the Order of the Garter, Harry and Meghan were in California celebrating Father's Day. Now, we've talked a lot about Meghan getting a little bit more candid, becoming a little bit more open with the kind of content that she's sharing on social media, and her Father's Day tribute to Harry was a surefire sign that her openness is going to continue. Not only did we get a few very rare video clips of Archie and Lilibet that actually showed their faces, we also got a lot more content that was filmed on the fly. There weren't staged photo shoots, there weren't staged video shoots, and there were no Netflix cameras there to capture any of this content. This was just Meghan shooting on her phone over the years and then dredging up these candid clips to share in a video montage. She even added a vintage-looking filter to really give it an aesthetic feel, which I appreciate. We've all been there, Meghan, with wanting to make our Instagram look cooler. But I think the really important thing to note here is that Meghan appears to be becoming a lot more comfortable with opening up not just her life, but the lives of her 2 children. Historically, she and Harry have been very, very private when it comes to sharing anything to do with Lilibet and Archie. We've only had a few anecdotes here and there, a few kind of source quotes about how well the 2 of them are doing at school, but this is really one of the first times that we've had an opportunity to almost see them grow up on camera. We had clips from when the 2 of them were newborns. We had clips of Harry reading a bedtime story to his son in the nursery. Even a video of him teaching Archie how to ride a bike down the driveway of their Montecito home. And I think for a lot of people, especially for those who have remained steadfast fans of Meghan and Harry, this was a really wonderful opportunity to get a little look inside just how happy their family is. Meghan did actually touch upon her decision to share her life a little bit more authentically in a new interview with her close friend Emma Grede, who some of you will know as the mastermind behind the Kardashians' many businesses. But she actually focused more on a different viral clip when she was talking about her own social media. She didn't open up about her decision to post about Archie and Lilibet. However, she did discuss her slightly controversial decision to share a throwback clip of herself in the hospital delivery room while she was waiting to give birth to Lilibet, twerking, grinding, and bumping, I don't know, whatever else it was that she was doing as part of the viral baby mama trend. I'm sure many of you have seen it. I won't sing the song and get it stuck in your heads yet again. The clip in question showed a very heavily pregnant Meghan standing in her hospital room, doing whatever it is she needed to do in order to move the labor process along. And in Meghan's case, that apparently included a slightly raunchy dance session. Don't quote me, but she did reach a new low, and I do mean that literally. She got all the way down to the ground. It was very impressive for a pregnant woman. However, the clip did get a lot of backlash from viewers, some of whom felt that it was simply inappropriate for her to be sharing such a, I guess, saucy moment at such an emotional time, particularly given that she shared the clip in order to celebrate her daughter's birthday. However, Meghan, when she discussed this clip with Emma, effectively said that she now sees social media as an opportunity for her to share the most authentic side of herself, to share what goes on behind the scenes, what most people don't get to see in her Netflix show or through her brand releases or whatever else it is. And in truth, she just wants to share her life as she wants to, and that's what she's going to keep doing. So who knows what we will get next? Family dancing sessions, twerking classes with Meghan Markle. I think really the social media world is her oyster. Meghan and Harry's decision to quit their roles as senior working royals has always been the source of a lot of controversy, and many people have criticized them repeatedly over the past few years, asking why, if they wanted more privacy in their lives, have they done things like a Netflix documentary, an Oprah interview, a social media post about their delivery room dance session. And the truth of the matter is, I think it was less about privacy as a whole and more about privacy on their terms. When it comes to the royal family, they have a pretty rigid set of regulations in place for how news and information is shared by various members of the royal family. Now, we've seen William and Kate kind of evolve that process over the years, take it into their own hands, and really kind of take control of their own story while still working with the experts inside Buckingham Palace, inside Kensington Palace, to make sure that the narrative is as the royal family would want it to be. But it does mean, for example, that when Kate gave birth, one of the very first things that she did on all three occasions was step out of the hospital, baby in arms, and pose for the cameras. Meghan has talked on a number of occasions about her discomfort with that process. She did not go through it when she gave birth to Archie. Instead, she and Harry met with a very small select group of photographers in the palace walls. And then, of course, when she gave birth to Lilibet and she was living in California, we did not see really anything of Lily until she was much older and Harry and Meghan were ready to share. Now, the reason I tell you this backstory is because it goes to show what Meghan and Harry's true feelings about this whole situation really are. It's less about them not wanting to court the public eye. They absolutely want to court the public eye. They know that they need to in order to keep making money. They need Netflix deals, Spotify deals, Lemonada Media deals, whatever it is, in order to keep thriving in their $14.65 million Montecito mansion. And the only way that they are going to keep making those blockbuster deals is if people keep wanting to know what's going on with them. However, what they want is to make sure that any public interest, anything that gets shared about their lives, is done so on their terms. You best believe that when it came to that Netflix documentary all about their lives, all about their exit from the royal family, they had creative control over exactly what was shared and what wasn't. And I think when it comes to Meghan's social media, it's the perfect opportunity for her. She can share what she wants, she can share the highlight reel, and when it comes to the backlash, she can shrug it off as being the same thing that every other influencer gets, which is criticism from people who don't like them.